Paul McCartney, a man whose career has straddled the summit of modern music for more than half a century, has never been shy in his admiration for the great guitarists who've shaped rock's storied landscape. Among these, however, one name stands tall above the rest: Jimi Hendrix. McCartney has repeatedly described Hendrix as not just a favorite, but the very best guitarist of all time. Such admiration is not simply the stuff of posthumous sentimentality. It is rooted in personal experience and a rare understanding of artistic mastery. McCartney's first encounter with Hendrix occurred during one of those serendipitous moments that rock history is made of, in a small London club called the Bag of Nails. Hendrix, then relatively unknown in the UK, took to the stage in front of an audience that included McCartney and fellow British rock luminaries like Pete Townshend and Eric Clapton. What began as a casual night of music for McCartney quickly transformed into an encounter with a force of nature. From the very first note, Hendrix's electrifying presence captivated McCartney and everyone in the room. It was more than just technical proficiency. It was a marriage of sound and soul that rendered each listener spellbound. Hendrix didn't merely play the guitar, he unleashed it. The impact was immediate and profound.
I probably saw his first gig in London, which was at the Bag of Nails, when we were just there one night having a drink, and he just ambled up on the stage in that manner he had. And he was just a beautiful guy, and he just wound up the Marshalls and just started playing very loud. And we were there, and the next time he played the Bag of Nails, then it was more Homage. Yeah. People knew he was going to be there, so I remember one night, me, Townshend and Eric were all there in the audience kind of going, this is good.
Just days after the Beatles had released their Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album in 1967, Hendrix took to the stage at London's Savile Theatre and opened his set with the album's title track. It was a staggering feat of musicianship and a gesture of respect that McCartney still recalls with great fondness. Here was a man who had absorbed the music of the day's most groundbreaking band, reimagined it through his own lens, and then performed it live with all the audacity and brilliance of a true original. Hendrix's tribute that night wasn't just flattery, it was a signal that a new standard had been set.
At the Savile Theatre in London, and I was there, Clapton was there, Townshend was there. We like all come to see this new guitar god, and yeah, we released Sgt. Pepper on the Friday. 2 days later, on the Sunday, he'd learned it and he played it, and he played a great version of it.
Beyond Hendrix, McCartney has always been appreciative of other giants in the history of guitar gods. He has spoken warmly of Eddie Van Halen, whose revolutionary guitar work in the 1970s and 80s pushed the boundaries of rock's sonic possibilities. Van Halen's mastery of technique was never in doubt, but what drew McCartney's admiration was not just the speed and pyrotechnics. It was the subtle understanding of when to hold back, of when to let the music breathe. For McCartney, Van Halen got it right because he knew when to unleash his prodigious skill and when to allow space for the music to speak for itself. This delicate balance between power and restraint mirrored McCartney's own philosophy as a songwriter, where melody and feel always came before mere technical display. McCartney's admiration for David Gilmour, another titan of British rock, is equally well-founded. He first collaborated with Gilmour in the 1980s, when the Pink Floyd guitarist laid down one of his trademark emotive solos on McCartney's track No More Lonely Nights. Over the years, their paths crossed on various stages and in studios, and McCartney has spoken highly of Gilmour's artistry, labeling him a genius. What distinguishes Gilmour in McCartney's eyes is not merely the finesse with which he plays, but the emotional depth he brings to each note. His solos, particularly with Pink Floyd, are less about technical virtuosity and more about creating an expansive sonic atmosphere that resonates deeply with listeners. It is this ability to evoke feeling, rather than simply playing a barrage of notes, that McCartney treasures. Then there is Eric Clapton, a man whose reputation as one of rock's greats had already been established long before McCartney offered his praise. Their friendship dates back to the 1960s, when Clapton was asked to perform the iconic guitar solo on the Beatles' While My Guitar Gently Weeps, a favor requested by George Harrison. McCartney has always acknowledged Clapton's immense talent, but what stands out in his comments is the specific admiration for Clapton's later work. McCartney has often said that Clapton's playing in more recent years carries a maturity and depth that goes beyond the raw technical brilliance of his youth. There is a certain wisdom, a measured confidence in Clapton's playing that, for McCartney, reflects the evolution of a musician who has truly mastered his craft. These names, Hendrix, Van Halen, Gilmour and Clapton, represent a spectrum of rock guitar that has profoundly shaped McCartney's own musical journey. Yet, despite all the praise lavished on these greats, it is always Hendrix who stands as the unrivaled master. For McCartney, Hendrix's genius was not just in his ability to play the guitar, but in his ability to make the instrument a living, breathing extension of his personality. In Jimi's hands, the guitar wasn't just an instrument, it was a voice, one capable of expressing the full range of human emotion. It is this quality that continues to elevate Hendrix above all others in McCartney's mind, even all these years after his untimely death.
He's not arrogant in the least. He was just a great guy, the kind of person you want to know, you know. Very self-effacing about his music, but then when he picked up that guitar, he was just a monster.
McCartney's reverence for these guitarists speaks not only to his own deep musical knowledge, but to his enduring commitment to celebrating the artistry of others. Though he has long since secured his place as one of the most important figures in modern music, McCartney remains, at heart, a student of the craft. His appreciation for Hendrix, Van Halen, Gilmour and Clapton reflects a humility and generosity of spirit that has allowed him to remain relevant and admired across generations. It is this quality that has kept him at the forefront of music for so long, and it is this appreciation that will ensure his influence continues long after he has played his final note.